Long ago, in an age where the veil between the mortal world and the mystical realm was thin, a love story blossomed between a valiant human warrior and a girl who was no ordinary maiden. She was a snake spirit, radiant and kind. Though they came from different worlds, their hearts beat as one. But peace never lasts long in stories touched by fate. In a brutal battle, the brave warrior gave his life to protect the woman he loved, fighting until the very last beat of his heart. His sacrifice left her soul shattered, drowning in grief. Unable to bear the memories, she sealed them, her love, her pain, her sorrow, into a single delicate hairpin, locking them away for 500 long years. Now, 5 centuries later, time has worn down the magic. The seal breaks. In a flash of energy and emotion, the hairpin releases every buried memory, every feeling she once tried to forget. It all floods back, the laughter, the pain, the warmth of his hand, the sound of his voice. And with it, one truth rises from her heart like the first sunrise after a long winter. He must be somewhere in this world. Alive, standing on a high mountain peak, the snake spirit, now known as Xiaobai, gazes across the vast horizon. Her voice trembles with hope as she whispers to the wind, no matter where he is, no matter what he looks like now, even if he doesn't remember me, I will find him, because I remember him. In the next scene, the same ancient hairpin that held centuries of sealed emotion comes spiraling through the sky like a falling star, caught by fate. It lands gently in the path of a young man named Jian, a simple village doctor. He picks it up curiously, then runs forward, calling out, "Miss, I think you dropped your hairpin." The woman turns. It's her, Xiaobai, standing there as serene and graceful as ever. She takes the hairpin and offers a quiet, "Thank you, sir." But Jian can't take his eyes off her. There's something strangely familiar about her face, something that pulls at his soul in a way he can't explain. "You look really familiar," he says. She smiles gently and replies, "May I know your name?" "Of course," he says. "I'm Jian." Before they can speak further, an old villager barges in angrily, grabbing Jian by the collar. "Dr. Jian, while my grandson lies sick, you're here chatting with girls. Come at once." Dragged away, Jian disappears from view. But fate is only just beginning to stir. After treating the child, Jian steps outside and runs into Xiaobai again. He's stunned by the coincidence. "It's you," he says. "What a coincidence," she replies softly. They begin walking together, exchanging stories. She asks him about his life. Jian shares that he's 25 and that his family consisted of elder sisters who have since passed. Now he lives quietly with his brother-in-law. Before their connection can deepen, he's called away once again, another sick villager in need. Yet the day keeps drawing them together. At the market, in alleyways, by the riverside. Each time, their eyes meet, hearts flutter, but someone always interrupts. That evening, as Jian rows a boat across the river to visit another patient, Xiaobai appears again, this time standing on the shore, smiling at him. She asks to join him, but the old boatman refuses to take her. So, with a twinkle in her eye and a flick of unseen magic, she tips the boatman into the river, gently, of course. Jian is startled, but Xiaobai extends her hand and pulls him aboard her own boat. As they drift across the moonlit waters, Jian picks up a flute and plays a hauntingly familiar tune. "You know this song?" she asks. I'm not sure. It just came to me." She hums along, and for a moment, time bends. It's the same melody they once sang together, 5 centuries ago. The next day, Jian is seen with his brother-in-law at a colorful village festival. He's nervous, excited. He wants to talk about marriage to Xiaobai, but his brother-in-law scoffs. "Marriage? You're swimming in debt." Still, Jian insists. They sneak into a small restaurant to meet her. There, the brother-in-law tries to explain Jian's dire financial state. But Xiaobai, calm and sincere, responds, "Once we're husband and wife, none of that matters. We'll face it all together." Just then, the restaurant owner appears, angry and shouting. He's the one Jian owes money to. Embarrassed, Jian tries to defend himself, but Xiao Bai quietly removes her gold jewelry and offers it as payment. "You don't have to do this," Jian protests. "But I want to," she replies. "For our future." That night, Xiao Bai's sister, Shou Chong, sits alone, deep in thought, uneasy about everything. Then comes the wedding. Amid glowing lanterns and sacred rituals, Jian and Xiao Bai tie a red string around their fingers, a spiritual vow binding them for eternity. No matter what happens, they will walk this life and the next hand in hand. The following morning, Xiao Bai buries the hairpin, her painful past, deep in the earth. She looks at Shou Chong and says, "From today, no more magic. Let's live like normal people." Shou Chong says nothing. She's not ready to let go of the power or the past. Jian and Xiao Bai enjoy a few days of peace. But soon, trouble arrives. Jian discovers a woman poisoned by bad water. He does everything he can to help but struggles with the high price of medicine. "I wish I had enough to open a clinic," he laments. Shou Chong hears this. Determined to help in her own way, she takes Xiao Bai and inspects the village wells. Her instincts prove correct. All the water has been poisoned. The culprit? A demon named Mouse Demon, who's been hoarding the antidote and selling it at outrageous prices. They confront him. One look into Xiao Bai's powerful eyes and he's trembling with fear. Meanwhile, Shou Chong cleverly robs him, taking 2 precious pouches of antidote. Jian is overjoyed. "Now, I can finally help the people." But even with the stolen gold, it's not enough. So Shou Chong takes things further. She sneaks into the local government treasury and steals from them, framing Mouse Demon in the process. When Xiao Bai finds out, she confronts her. "I know you meant well," she says softly, "but stealing is wrong. Promise me, don't do it again." Shou Chong shrugs. "I do what I feel like." One morning, Jian invites Xiao Bai to collect herbs in the mountains. While climbing, he slips, nearly falling off a cliff. In a flash, Xiao Bai leaps after him and saves him with a sudden burst of magic. Jian is breathless. "That was a miracle," he murmurs. Meanwhile, the real threat finally arrives. A powerful monk known only as the Great Monk visits the government hall to investigate the treasury robbery. The moment he picks up Mouse Demon's small pouch, his face hardens. "This wasn't done by any human," he declares coldly. "A demon is responsible." Meanwhile, during a lively festival, a traveling circus arrives in town. The performers dazzle the crowd with their acts, and among them is a mysterious and graceful woman known as the Fox Demon Girl. Xiao Bai watches her with quiet unease. There's something off, something strange, but she doesn't say a word. The next day, Mouse Demon approaches Jian. "I need to stay close to you," he insists. "There's a demon hiding in your home. I've cast a protective spell. You'll be safe." Later, when Jian walks into his house, that spell activates. Xiao Bai senses it immediately. Alarmed but composed, she fakes being sick and asks her sister Shou Chong to go take a look instead. Shou Chong, always cheerful and teasing, agrees without question. But as she investigates and hears Jian's explanation about how some weird rat-like guy handed him a goat and rambled nonsense, her smile fades. Her expression darkens. She knows exactly who he's talking about. Furious, she storms off to hunt down the rat demon herself. And she finds him. But just as she's about to strike, the Great Monk suddenly appears out of nowhere and attacks the Mouse Demon first, capturing him swiftly. Then, the monk senses another presence. Someone else is watching him. He turns and there she is. Shou Chong, no longer in disguise. She transforms into her true demon form, launching a surprise attack. But the monk is quick. He unleashes a burst of spiritual energy, catching her off guard and trapping her. Shou Chong fights with everything she has, but she's no match for his raw power. He seals her inside his spiritual circle, but before he can imprison her fully, she breaks free just in time and vanishes. The story now moves to a joyous event, the Dragon Board Festival. Jian's brother-in-law is the town's reigning champion, and the whole family gathers to celebrate under the moonlit sky. Even Xiao Bai is invited to share a drink. But Shouchong pulls her aside and warns her, "Sister, don't you remember what happened when we drank? We lose control." Xiaobai smiles softly. "Just this once," she says. "Let's let everyone be happy." But before long, the warning comes true. Xiaobai feels herself slipping, her emotions spiral, her powers stir. She quietly stumbles away from the party to avoid causing a scene. Jian notices and follows, concerned. And that's when he sees it. Xiaobai, struggling to contain herself, suddenly transforms into her true white snake form, multi-jointed and massive. The sight is terrifying. Jian's body freezes and then collapses. Xiaobai rushes to him, heart pounding. He's barely breathing. Terrified, she screams for help. With nowhere else to turn, she runs straight to the fox demon girl. "If you want to save him," the girl says calmly, "go to Mountain Cone. Bring back the magical cross." Then, without waiting for a response, she slams 2 massive blades into Xiaobai's hands and in an instant teleports her to the mountain. Xiaobai battles through dangerous challenges, braving the unknown, until she finally retrieves the magical cross. Meanwhile, Beiyan Jian recovers back home. But even though his body heals, the fear remains. The memory of what he saw haunts him. To help him face his fear, Xiaobai and Shouchong come up with a bold plan. They take him back to the same location where he fainted. Using her powers, Shouchong creates an illusion, a fake snake demon. Then, right in front of Jian, she slays the illusion dramatically, splitting its throat in one swift move. It's intense, but it works. Jian begins to heal emotionally. The next morning, Jian's brother-in-law, impressed with Shouchong's strength, laughs and says she's amazing. Why is she still single? And like any good brother-in-law, he takes it upon himself to find her a suitor. Soon, a parade of eager young men lines up, each trying to impress Shouchong. But she isn't impressed at all. In fact, she mocks them openly, teases them, and even throws a few around for fun. Just then, trouble returns. The great monk appears once more quietly. He's heard about a snake demon being slain nearby and wants to investigate. But he's crafty. He disguises himself and mingles with the crowd, hiding his energy. Still, Shouchong spots him immediately. She plays along, tricks him with a clever distraction, and escapes. That moment confirms it for the monk. She's the one from that night. He follows her trail all the way back to Jian's home. Before he can enter, Xiaobai stops Jian outside. "Let me talk to him," she says. Inside, the monk's tone is cold. "This demon has taken over your whole family," he says. Xiaobai laughs lightly. "Are you serious?" But the monk's glare sharpens. "You'll understand when I strike." Suddenly, without warning, he attacks. Xiaobai fights back with all her might. But the monk is too powerful. She begins to lose control. Her true form starts to emerge again. From outside, Jian hears the chaos and calls out desperately, "Xiaobai, where are you?" The monk pauses just long enough to sneer, "Look closely. This is your wife." Devastated, Jian begs, "If she's really my wife, then please, spare her." But the monk doesn't stop. He strikes again, cutting Xiaobai deeply. Desperate, Jian pulls out the sacred cradle he had hidden. It unleashes a powerful energy that paralyzes the monk just long enough for Jian to escape, with golden balls in hand. He races back to the fox demon girl, begging for help. She gives him a special item, a magical flute. "This flute can undo any power," she says, "but it will drain your life force." Jian accepts the cost. But Xiaobai is gone. So he heads to the monk's palace, where he falls to his knees before the monk's disciple. "My wife has never harmed anyone," he pleads. "Please, leave her alone." But the monk's voice echoes from above. "She hasn't yet, but she will. You've already been tainted by her." With that, he orders Jian to be locked away inside the monastery. Meanwhile, Shouchong finds Xiaobai near a quiet waterfall, severely wounded. Jian's brother-in-law also finds them. When Xiaobai sees him, she whispers, "Aren't you going to arrest me? I'm a demon." But the man breaks down crying. "You'll always be my little sister," he says. Tears stream down Xiao Bai's face. She reaches into the mud and pulls out her old hairpin, cradling it gently. Then, her eyes widen. She sways, dizzy. I think I'm pregnant," she whispers softly. Later, Shouchong finds Jian and shares the news. "Big sister asked me to tell you she's going to be a mother." Overwhelmed with emotion, Jian runs to her. "It's my fault," he cries. But Xiao Bai shakes her head. "No, it's mine." Jian cups her face. "None of that matters now. What matters is that our daughter comes into this world safely." Xiao Bai smiles. But the peace doesn't last. The monk returns. "You're insane," he tells Jian. "You almost died that night when you saw her true form. Run while you still can." But Xiao Bai steps forward. "Then let's stop hiding," she says. And in a blinding flash, she transforms into her full, majestic white snake form. Jian says nothing. She turns away, hurt. But then he runs to her, grabs her tightly and shouts, "Even if the world collapses, even if everything falls apart, I'll never leave your side. That promise we made, I'll never forget it. Even if this life is just a dream, loving you is my truth." And that hug, it's one of the most powerful moments in the entire film. The monk appears again. "No matter how many dreams you dream," he says, "I'll come like death and shatter them all." A fierce battle begins. White Snake and Green Snake fight side by side. But the monk is relentless. He injures Green Snake, then traps White Snake in a searing energy ring. That's when Jian plays the magical flute. The sound pierces the air, undoing the monk's spells, but every note drains Jian's life. Xiao Bai cries out in anguish. Still, the monk isn't done. He rises and unleashes one final, devastating phoenix strike. But suddenly, an explosion of power erupts. Jian's sacrifice turns the monk's attack into harmless lotus petals. The monk stares, stunned. What? What is this power? But it's too late. Xiao Bai and Shouchong have already escaped. The monk simply says, he gave up his life source to save a demon. Take him. Perhaps he can be healed at the palace. Time passes. Xiao Bai gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. The family is happy, at peace, but Xiao Bai herself is fading. One day, Shouchong bursts in with toys. Sister, look, I got something for the baby. But the house is empty. Panic fills her heart. She looks around, desperate. Then, quietly, she whispers, if you're heading to the monk's palace to bring back your husband, then I'm coming too. And that is where the movie ends. If you liked the story, don't forget to show your support and check out the other epic adventures waiting for you on the channel.